we've been unpacking the vision that we believe God's placed in our heart. We've been unpacking what it looks like over the past month, what God has placed in our heart as a leadership team for the next season at the summit. That the summit becomes a place where real life encounters authentic faith, where we can be who we are, where we can experience our real life, can experience that authentic faith that changes because we experience Jesus who transforms our lives. It's what drives us forward. It's what propels us to move. We believe that that because of this vision, that this reason, that God has actually placed us here in the Algoma region for a purpose. That He's actually positioned us right here on the corner of 2nd Line in Sackville, on the corner of Maple Leaf Road and Old Highway, or 17B, in Echo Bay. And that He's given us opportunities in online world to experience, to see God move in powerful ways because of the vision that He's placed in our hearts. The place where authentic faith is experienced, where real life encounters that authentic faith, where we become the church, God's church for this reason. It's not a fluke. It's not happenstance. It didn't just happen by mistake, but it happened because God is intending to build His church. And we get to be a part of it. We get to be a part of it. We find Jeremiah sending this letter to the exiles in Babylon. And instead of assuring them that their captivity would be short, he reminds them and advises them that they better just settle down and buckle in. Build houses, plant gardens, make a life for yourself because it's going to be 70 years. Work hard though. Work hard. Pray for the city where you're exiled. Don't listen to the false prophets that are going to try to tell you it's me, it's not me. Now, if I pause that for just a minute, it could almost sound like the 21st century, couldn't it? But this letter was written so many years ago. How? God's word is timeless. And here's the thing. God's speaking to the nation of Israel who are captive in Babylon. And I believe He's speaking to us and the church now. May not be short. Buckle in and get ready, because I'm going to build my church. And you get to be a part of it. As a pastor in Atlanta, North Point Community Church, Andy Stanley is his name, author, podcaster, communicator, lead pastor, and he says these words: Jesus is the hope of the world, and the local church is the vehicle of expressing that hope to the world. Whew. That's pretty good, isn't it? It's true. Jesus is the hope of this world, and the local church, that's us, are the vehicle of expressing that hope to this world. That through you, people can experience the hope that's found in Jesus. Through you, people can experience Jesus as you live out as His witness to this world. Unfortunately, there are many times the church hasn't really been a good vehicle for expressing this hope, right? Sometimes that hurts to hear, but the truth is, how do we become a church for this region? How do we become God's church for this region? I think we first have to realign ourselves with God's plan and His purpose and drive towards the vision that He's placed in our hearts. So that God's church needs to dig roots. Dig deep roots. Jeremiah says to the nation as they're in exile, build homes. Well, that's digging a root, isn't it? Build a home and plan to stay. Don't just build it so you can just give it away. Build a home, plan to stay. Plant gardens and eat the food they produce. God's church in this region not only digs roots, but needs to grow. It needs to grow. Not so we can parade around with number signs saying, hey, look at us. Because lives are being changed as they experience hope, life, transformation. As the mess they may find themselves in encounters that authentic faith that transforms their life. Needs to grow. The church needs to grow. Jeremiah says to the nation of Israel, you guys need to grow. So marry and have children. Find spouses for them, that you may have many grandchildren. Multiply. Grow. And I just heard the kids scream upstairs. You know what? They're cheering about growing. Woo! Let me just say this. I'm sorry, I had to pause for a second. That's life. And that's growth. Kids are here experiencing Jesus. There's students in that room next door. I'm surprised we can't hear them. That are prepping and making food. And Pastor Noah's in there like, that are preparing food so that they can help raise money to go on a life-transforming weekend in the spring. That's life and growth. Jeremiah says to the nation of Israel, multiply, don't dwindle away. Multiply, grow, keep growing, keep growing. You're going to be here for a while, so dig your roots, plant yourself, and keep growing. But God's church then needs to pray. And needs to pray and call on God and seek His face. Press into Him. Verse 7 says, and work for the peace and prosperity of the city where I sent you into exile. Pray to the Lord for it. For what? Peace and prosperity of the city where I sent you. Okay, God, you want me to pray for peace and prosperity of the city? I said, yes. Love the region. For its welfare will determine your welfare. Ooh. Well, that's good. Listen to the Message translates this verse. Make yourselves at home there and work for the country's welfare. Pray for Babylon's well-being. Whoa, they're my enemies. Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Okay. If things go well for Babylon, things go well for you. Pray for your region. God's church needs to pray. Not the selfish prayer. Not the, could you give me more? But the prayer that says, God, my heart breaks for this region. God, my heart breaks for our leaders. God, my heart breaks for these communities, for these homes, for our schools. Father, move in our region in ways that we can't even begin to describe. Move in our government systems, in our leadership structures. Move across our region. God's church prays and prays and doesn't stop. And it grows and it grows and it doesn't stop. And it digs its roots deep and deep and deep and it doesn't leave. Because God's building His church. Jesus is the hope of the world. And the local church is the vehicle of expressing that hope to this world. But if this church were to disappear tomorrow, not the building, This is just a building. We're the church. If the church were to disappear tomorrow, would the community know? Would the community even know?